All right, y'all. Welcome to our DSP webinar. I'm Shannon. I'm Director of Marketing at Carbon 6. I'm going to be your MC for today's event, though I will defer mostly to our expert panel. If you can please take a second to fill out the form that's going to pop up on your screen so we can learn a bit more about you before we jump in. That would be awesome. We'd appreciate it. And then once that's done, we are going to jump on in. Our panel today has put together an awesome presentation, so I'm going to let them run the show unless they need to be reined in for timing's sake. We'll try to keep this one under an hour, but also we'll leave plenty of time for questions. If you do have questions throughout, please use the Q&A function that's in the middle of your Zoom screen. This is the best place to drop your questions to make sure that we don't miss anything. Since we do have the chat open, feel free to drop comments and chat amongst yourselves. But again, if you want a question answered, definitely use that Q&A function so that we don't miss you. That's it. Those are the rules of the game. So I'm going to turn over the convo to our experts to introduce themselves and get us started. So Clayton, you want to intro yourself? Let us know who you are and a little bit about PixelMe.
Yeah, absolutely. I am the Director General Manager of PixelMe at Carbon 6. Been at Carbon 6 for almost 3 years now, which to some people doesn't sound like a long time, but it's almost as old as Carbon 6 has. We've been speaking a lot about time. Carbon 6 moves fast. A lot has happened in the past 3 years. But prior to that, I've been selling on Amazon since 2018. I've been doing e-commerce online since 2014. So have about 10 years of experience doing that. And for the past couple of years, been teaching people how to increase their organic rank, use retargeting to build their businesses successfully. I've been partnering more recently with Craig on the DSP side and diving headfirst into that to figure out how to win the Amazon game and D2C when it comes to DSP. So really excited for this webinar. I think it's probably long overdue, and just excited to be here. Just excited to be part of this webinar with Vanessa and Craig and meet all these people from all over the world. So thanks for joining.
Yeah, so my name is Vanessa Hung. The co-founder of SellerSys, one of our newest services under the Carbon 6 umbrella. And we focus on solving the tedious, time-consuming problems that you have in your Seller Central. So we take over the operations. And before that, I had my agency. And before that, I was an e-commerce manager. So I've been, throughout my career in this industry, I always been an educator, and this is probably one of my favorite things to do in my role, is to teach people on how to manage their account, what are the new things that they need to pay attention to. And this webinar is very exciting because I got invited. I'm not necessarily a DSP or PixelMe person, and one of the things that it gets me really excited these days is how Amazon is introducing a lot of AI tools into the shopping experience and into the selling experience. So we're going to talk about how with tools like DSP and PixelMe, you can transform and enhance those experiences with AI. So yeah, excited to be here, guys. And I mean, it's going to be packed of a lot of good information. So hope you stay with us.
Cool. Hey guys, Craig Cans, General Manager of DSP Prime here at Carbon 6. I have been helping brands and working with brands to grow their businesses on Amazon since way back in 2008. I've always been on the brand side of things. I've had my own agency. I've worked at other agencies, and then have always dialed in on the focus on the ad side and how important it is. And I tell people all the time, I feel like a translator, helping brands understand Amazon's speak and all the acronyms and what you need to do, and also then turning around and making sure Amazon understands what you guys want. So that's probably the best way to describe it. And the things that we're doing now with DSP here are incredible, and impacting AI, working with PixelMe, and I'm looking forward to taking you guys through it and teaching you a little bit about DSP if you need to be taught.
Awesome. Thanks, y'all. Let's jump into it.
Oh, perfect. So one of the things that I was mentioning at the beginning was how AI is transforming the shopping and selling experience. A lot of the things that you see now in the screen are the announcements, the official announcements that Amazon have made around new tools, new programs, new initiatives that are around changes in the platform related to AI. So we were talking about this, and the reason why this came about of like, this is the perfect angle to start introducing DSP to a lot of people, because I believe a lot of people, when they think about DSP, they think, no, I'm not a big brand. I'm not, the Procter and Gamble's of the world. Those are the ones that use DSP. But in reality, you're going to see in today's webinar how it's so important. And I know, Clayton, you have a story about this and how it's so relevant, because you're now seeing it on the other side of the world. So I don't know if you want to share with us what's your experience being in China with DSP.
Yeah, so I'm in Shenzhen right now, and sorry, Vanessa, I should have introduced you earlier. I introduced myself and just stopped talking. I should have said, and Vanessa.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm in Shenzhen right now. I've been here for a little bit over a month. I'll be here for all in all about 45 days, and this is my third time here. And what I've noticed is that in China, the lion's share, I would say 9 out of 10 people, maybe more, the sellers are either using DSP currently. I would say 8 out of 10, close to 9 out of 10, or they have used DSP or are like vetting out DSP providers right now. So it's not like a should you do it here. It's like a who should you use or how should you best do it. Whereas in the United States, I feel like, and it's interesting that we have so many people from so many different countries on this call. In the United States, it's a lot about education. In China, everybody here uses an ERP. Everybody has an ERP, and it seems that everybody is using DSP. And I think that's because, and Craig, you can chime in here, but I think it's because a lot of them are also selling omni-channel. A lot of the Chinese sellers might have started off as manufacturers. They're selling to their D2C. Then they went to Mercado Libre, or in Europe, like different, in Amazon and Australia, eBay has been big for a long time. So they have all these different marketplaces. So for that reason, they've like adopted DSP at like a much higher clip. In the USA, I feel like 8 out of 10 people aren't using it. Where in China, I feel like it's the exact opposite. And I think it's not a secret that China's crushing right now. And I think that their adoption of DSP is not a small part of that reason, but interested to hear Craig's thoughts on it.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting to also just clarify there that when you say in China and sellers, those are sellers that are selling all over, right? A lot of their sales happen in the US market. So
yeah, almost all of
these
them are in the USA.
Exactly. So, when we say in China, these are sellers that are selling right next by, right? They're your competitors. There are other sellers that are selling on the US channel if we're speaking to the, US sellers here. So I just want to clarify that. But yeah, it was adopted heavily and earlier there. And they realized the benefits of it, and they doubled down and tripled down. And there's tremendous opportunity elsewhere outside of China for that number to increase from 2 out of 10, 2.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I believe so. We got the results from the poll, the people that are in the webinar. So 38 of them use DSP or have used it at some point. 62 have not. So for everybody, we're going to have content. For the people that are using DSP right now, we're going to tell you a lot of how DSP can be used to enhance the AI experiences. And for the ones that are in the fence of considering DSP, after this webinar, you will for sure say, we need this. Because if you want to keep growing your business, especially on Amazon and other channels, this is the way to go, because you're going to see how the way of selling is changing drastically from going to keywords to audiences. And we're going to talk about that more. So I'm going to start with the AI section. So talk to you a little bit about what of those tools that I'm talking about that are changing the shopping experience. Then Craig will take us through the DSP experience, and Clayton will go through the PixelMe. And all of those things that we're going to talk about complement each other and are super fundamental for this strategy of leveraging audiences. The first thing that we need to see is this announcement. It happened a couple of days ago, August 27th, about Rufus being available to all the traffic in the US, both in the app and on desktop. Actually, yesterday I saw that they released to a huge percentage of the UK marketplace. So AI, it's gonna be in every marketplace on Amazon by next year, for sure. That's not a doubt. And because of that, a lot of things are changing in the way customers discover products and end up shopping or buying, doing the conversion. So what we need to adapt and start rethinking is our strategy to go after those specific clients that are going to buy our product. So what does this mean for sellers, right? Like, we have this new experience as a consumer, and I don't know if you guys have experienced Rufus. I now use it all the time when I go to the app, and I have purchased camera accessories with Rufus, with its recommendations. So I think it's pretty cool. And the more it's out there for the consumers, I think the adoption will be higher and higher. This is not a matter of like, I don't know if people will use it. It's just when this is going to happen. And one of the biggest things that I need to mention about this is Rufus, or all of the AI tools, are language models that are trained every so often. So, as GPT trains every, I don't know, 6 months, and they go from version 3 to the 4 to the 4.5 or to 3.5 and 4.0, those things. In the same way, Amazon will learn, right? So you don't need to wait, or you shouldn't wait to feed the system with new content in order for, make the decision on like, hey, I want to target AI. You should be doing the work right now. So the monetization of audience or of search, which is what Amazon shine and build the empire around, the search bar with keywords. That's how they were monetizing consumers. Now it's gonna shift to a more monetization of audiences, and that will make sense when Craig starts explaining DSP. But one of the things that you need to understand is why these three things connect to each other. Is that Rufus is the front-end experience that consumers have to interact with the system. With AI is a personal shopper. Then Cosmo is what we influence in the backend, building listings, and DSP is the information of the audiences. So you're gonna see how interacting with DSP will help you get better listings to enhance the experience that customers are having with the shopping assistant. So this is Rufus for the ones of you that haven't seen it. This is how it looks like in the mobile app. So that icon with the bubbles, that's Rufus. When you tap on it, you can start a conversation and ultimately have a search for a specific product. So it's an AI powered shopping assistant, and that is how e-commerce will move towards. So that's the biggest change. We're gonna know for sure, I think for sure, we're gonna see before and after this gets rolled out to all of the marketplaces and a lot of people are using it. It's gonna change drastically the game. So this is kind of a video of how it looks like. One of the important things that we need to understand is that Rufus knows who we are, knows who the customer is, knows what it likes, knows all of these things that are directly related to their intentions, their demographics, and their purchasing behaviors. That's why it's not only about what is the top search term that you need to go after. It's also about what's the top audience, like what's really your audience, who's really going to convert on your products. And that's a question that I think not a lot of people are asking when they sell on Amazon. And that's kind of the model that we're borrowing from D2C. So the other piece of the puzzle, and I'm going to go fast because this is probably not why you came here. You came here to learn about DSP and how you can leverage these things. But I think it's important to understand how the AI tools or models are going to change and how you're going to impact them. So Cosmo is the system, the AI system, that's built to understand the context and the content of your listings and connect that content to the intent of the customer. And as you see in the screen, this is like the most graphic or visual for how the system works. In this case, there is a pregnant woman, right? She is purchasing or is in market to buy shoes. So automatically Cosmo, because it's a system that understands context and understands intentions from customers, will say, well, if she's looking for a shoe, we're gonna only offer sleep resistant shoes. Why? Because it's obvious that you want that type of shoe for a pregnant woman. You don't want to fall. Those are the things that were not there in the system, in the algorithm before. We were only relying on keywords. Right now, there is a deeper understanding, and we need to do something to make sure that the AI really understand our product, because our first customer is AI. If you're not selling to AI, the AI won't sell your product. So that's very important. Then there is this formula, and you're gonna see how DSP impacts this. We have customer intent. So customer really knows who the customer is and what they want. The listing attributes, that's the information that you put on your listing. And then the brand and category tags, that's something that Craig will touch on. That is how they build the common sense. But now we want to change that formula to say how we convert, right? How can we change that to a conversion? So let's talk about DSP. And I will give you the definition that we had. And this is the definition that you can find everywhere. It's a demand side platform that allows advertisers to serve digital ads on multiple publishers across various advertising channels. Fantastic. That's actually what DSP really does, but we're not talking about that type of DSP in this webinar. That's the thing that's for granted. That's how you advertise the different channels. But the reason why we're here and the reason why DSP ties into the AI models is that DSP is the database for the customer first-party data that Amazon has. So everything that Amazon knows about customers it's sitting in the DSP, mind of goal, or the audience engine, where they know the purchasing behaviors, the insights, the demographics, and all of the things that will be needed to influence a purchase. This is where we start leveraging those insights, that information, that data, to control other sides of the equation in the Cosmo equation. And as you see here, DSP is all about customer intent because you have those audiences. You're going to see how the listing attributes could be, enhanced or manipulated with DSP. And the brand tags, you win that. When you use this formula with intentions of using DSP and really thoughtfully targeting specific audiences, you not only convert, which is obviously what we want to do. We want to grow our business, but also you teach the model to learn what are the type of people that you want to show this to and what's important for those customers. And that's going to be critical. One of the things about listing attributes and what we do with DSP that works so well for the enhancement of this model is that DSP allows for micro-segmentation. So in the industry, there is a lot of like A/B testing, right? I want to make sure that my hero image is the best image for my audience and everybody wants to look at it. So for that, a lot of people use external softwares to do like crowdsource, answers to say what's better, is A or B better. With DSP, one of the amazing things is for a very, very small budget, and we're talking about like just a couple of dollars, you can micro-segment different content for different audiences. So you will really be able to know what resonates with your specific audience. And when you follow them across the whole internet, you can focus or laser target those campaigns to be specific for the audience. Ultimately, what you want to do is gather that data and then start building the content on your listings. So it's like way more in tune with what your audience wants. So I'm going to pass it now to Greg to explain us how DSP works and all of the cool things that the system has to provide.
Vanessa, real quick, if I can jump in, like this made me the pregnant shoes like sparked a memory in my head. In like 2013 in college, there was a marketing class where they taught that this like 16 or 17-year-old girl received some mail from Target buying like baby strollers and just different baby things because of her past purchasing history, which was like, I think multivitamins or some sort of vitamins you take when you're a pregnant woman. I'm totally botching the vitamin part. But anyway, the dad was really upset and said, how dare you send this type of mail to my daughter? Well, lo and behold, the daughter was pregnant.
Correct.
And that was like the beginning of this, right? And I think like, if I was like to sum it up in my brain, it'd be like Rufus and Cosmo are working together to take that to like a whole nother level and to like better understand. And it's essentially Amazon DSP is like way, way more powerful than Target was with direct mail 10 years ago. But the addition of AI has made it like more important than ever to do retargeting, because the metrics and the data you actually have is so much more granular, and Amazon has so much more information about exactly how people are searching, and they're even like able to predict at a much higher clip what is the person actually looking for. Is that right?
Yeah, totally. And this is the thing. We're gonna know more about this and how it will transform the whole advertising and conversion experience at Unbox. That's happening in October. I bet that they're gonna say exactly how this AI will transform the system and how we're gonna start advertising there, which we already seen that the advertising console on Amazon is shifting to an audience like type of model, rather than the bidding on keywords. Is more like target to audiences. So at one point, we're going to see this, how it will propel all of the things about audiences. And we need to start focusing on who are we selling to, rather than what's the most important keyword for us, right? So yeah. You're totally right. And right now, and the reason why this is important, I've been talking about AI since the beginning, since Rufus came out and the white paper, that was back in October last year. And every month, every week, Amazon releases something that is like, yeah, that's where we're going. That's where we're going. So we're still early, and this is exciting for the people that are here listening, because if you adopt this now, I believe maybe 6 months, a year from now, you're going to be at the top versus the people that are just getting, tuned into, oh yeah, I need to target audiences. So yeah.
I remember you talking about Rufus and Cosmo. You're the person that taught me about it. I was like, you're just saying a bunch of weird words, Vanessa. And you're like, no, look at this. And I was like, oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Anyway, Craig, take.
And you guys are, you guys are obviously both right. And the one thing that any seller and everyone on this, watching this now, has in common is wanting to get your products in front of the person that is going to buy it in the least path of resistance and in the most cost-effective way. That is the one common ground. And I always find it best, and it's helpful. And I know that we said roughly 70% of the audience is not using DSP, and that means 30 are. But the one thing that everyone is using or has been using and always will use is the Amazon ad side. So before we get into the audiences and how we go about finding them and getting them, I think it's important to just understand the difference between Amazon sponsored ads and DSP, and how they work together. And I say it as, on Amazon ads, you're finding your customer, and with DSP, your customer is finding you. Amazon ads, sponsored, keyword driven, product driven, category searches, so it is interest driven. But at the end of the day, we are all looking to drill down to that customer. And with keyword-based search and using Amazon sponsored ads, we go through a hierarchy to find out. And I put an example here of, dog leash. And that is a common term, right? It's an expensive term. If we're selling a $15 dog leash, paying $7.65 for the click is probably not the most efficient way. So ideally, we want to continue to build search terms, build campaigns, identify keywords, and get down to the 8-foot dog leash, for a big dog with a tie down that only costs $2. And if we could get every sale and a cost per click down there, that would be great, and we'd be profitable and everything would run smoothly. But with search-based, you have to go through this hierarchy, and you have to continue to learn from their behavior, and like I say, finding your customer. Whereas with DSP, the customer finds you. So we have access, and we know based off demographics, interests, in market for various products, whether it's bought with. So in this instance, I have here, bought an extra large kennel, or is shopping for leashes. So because we are able to leverage Amazon's first party customer data and third party websites and apps to build audiences, drill down in audiences, it gives us the ability to expand our market opportunity, gives us a competitive advantage if we are doing this and doing this right. You're going to be ahead of everyone else that is not doing it. And that's why the adoption of this is very important. And then at the end of the day, we want to increase brand value, right? We want to have sales, we want to have revenue growth, and we want to become a player in our space, no matter what it is. And in this example for leashes, it's $2.10 to touch 1,000 times and serve up 1,000 people to a highly targeted audience that is already there, as opposed to the cost per clicks for search terms. And many times you're paying for search terms that are not really against your competitors, and you're bidding each other up. Dog products would be, even higher up on this list that you probably have in your campaigns if you're running this type of thing. And with that, I want to get into, how we are leveraging these audiences and making, our customer find us, right? We started with the dog owner, right? And then we're looking at these audiences and we're able to drill down to say, oh, based off the audience types and the information we're gathering, there's new dog owners and existing, and we can break it down that way, right? And then we've identified by demographic, we have a dog owners that are 35 to 54 and 55 to 64. But on the existing dog owner side, it's 55 to 64. And then we can drill down even further and identify what types of dogs they own. And once we are using our top of funnel approach and building the awareness to identify our key customer profile, then we can take this information and go further. And the metrics we use here to determine this and how we know what is working and who is in our profile, we look at the viewable impressions that are being served. We look at engagement rates, click-through rates, and one here is attributed brand searches. And I think it's important to call this out because you would say, Craig, you would kind of just saying that this is not search-based. But what we are able to do, and what you're able to do with DSP and Amazon DSP, is we are able to track how many branded searches we drive just from the visibility and from the DSP ads that are running. So the example would be somebody sees an ad on a DSP on a website that they're on, and then they see it and they go to Amazon and they type the brand name because they saw the ad. We all know that with our sponsored ads, the campaigns that are performing the most, that have the highest rate of return, are the branded ones, the ones that we would love everyone to come in and type our brand. So with DSP, knowing that we can impact the amount of branded searches that happen, you can see how they both work together, but how it is even more cost efficient because it improves your sponsored ad spend. So it's a cool metric that I think is worth noting down and building, no matter where you're working and using DSP and whom with. I think it's a cool metric to make sure that you're tracking. And after we've identified our audience, we move to the second piece of the funnel, and that's where we're engaging. It's the consideration stage. And here is where we are giving them a different type of ad message. We're engaging with them and an ad message that is more pinpointed to who they are, what they're looking for, because we already found out from our top of funnel, the information, right, that we had there. We found out that they were in what demographic and what type of dog, and if they were a new owner. So now we use these ads in the consideration phase and new messages to go even further. And we talk about serving up our products to them because we've identified them, and we call out our key features instead of customers having to find it on their own. We give it to them. And this is where finding your customer and engaging with them. So our leashes are durable. They're at a low price compared to other people. They have awesome colors. And we now are changing our ads and sending out more engaging ad types that are calling out our product key features. Now, keep in mind, you'll see how this is all starting to tie into what Vanessa was talking about, where now we're finding our customers, we're driving them to based off of key features and attributes of our products, and that is informing the AI tools so that our products are ahead of the game as far as informing this and are served up to the right customers more often and more frequently and more accurately by the AI tools. So that is where we are impacting the Cosmo and Rufus by driving the correct people already to our pages. So after we've engaged in the middle of the funnel, it's time to make some money and get our ROI and convert on these customers, right? So there's two ways that we are looking to convert, and we now have our audience. They know the attributes, and we know the KPIs from the previous two pieces of the funnel. So the first way that we go after conversion and ROI is through retargeting. Detail page views, abandoned carts, and we also know what they were interested in and the fact that they did abandon. So maybe we serving up ads that have calling out different features or other features that we didn't mention in the previous ads. We're putting a call to action here, but we're now exposed. They've been exposed to the brand. They're familiar with it. They've never purchased it before. So let's go retarget those folks. And this combines with some of their Amazon ad activity, right? Maybe they've searched for the brand before. Maybe they've visited the detail page, not just from DSP, but we start retargeting, and we can retarget people that are coming from off Amazon, as Clayton will dive into, and in the attribution phase, we can now retarget those and using and retargeting for people that are coming from off Amazon as well. So it's not just your on Amazon or existing audience, it's the new ones that we have brought in and identified, and now we need to convert them. And then the second piece, and where DSP is a tremendous value add, is in the remarketing side. This is where, if you know on your Amazon pages, you see frequently bought with that Amazon populates, or you can pay for to be sponsored. If you pay for it, your brand will show up there every time. If you're not leveraging that part of the Amazon ads, other brands could show up there. But here with DSP, we do that work for it. We tell them that, oh, you bought this product. Most people are buying this additional product A after buying this, and we're serving them ads on the remarketing side to build basket and get them cross-sold across all of our products and further within to the brand experience. And then, if applicable for your brand or for your seller account, subscriptions and loyalty is a huge metric that we track. The ability to go back to people that have purchased and talk to them about loyalty, whether there's a call out for it, but continue to remind them that they purchased it first. Tell them then to subscribe to it, and this is done obviously with our messaging. Tell them that they should subscribe to it because they're now reminded that they bought it once. And then we'll also go and win back people, right? They might have bought it a while back and haven't bought for a second time. So let's go win them back through remarketing. And again, we're calling out our key features. They're familiar with them. And the metrics real quickly here, guys, that we look to achieve this and achieve success and gauge our success is obviously sales, new to brand customer sales, new subscriptions, ROAS, tacos, because we're impacting not just ROAS and looking at ROAS, we're impacting the total business. And that would be the three stages of the funnel. And I think that it's important to understand three and see how they're being leveraged with DSP and what we're doing to impact the AI to make sure that the right customer is in front of our product. Why DSP Prime? So what we're doing is we're using our Amazon DSP seat and running your campaigns full service in-house, not through a third party or anything. And we're able to use the efficiencies that we get from that and the data insights, things that I was just mentioning, and put together a streamlined process that's going to help you achieve your strategies, but more importantly, in like a cost-effective way, and making the ads and your overall ad strategy come together and be more cohesive. And DSP needs to be a part of it. And I think that and I'm hoping that everyone gets that after this this session and after Clayton speaks, the importance of why it needs to be a part of it. But what we're doing that's unique is we're doing audits of your brands, and you can submit requests for that. And we're building tailored plans that are designed to drive total ROI for your business. We're also breaking down the walls of visibility and transparency. We're giving you access to your own dashboard, providing you with and as many users as you'd like with full access to all the KPIs, and the data is in real time or near real time, as soon as Amazon pulses it out for us. But we're giving the dashboards are updating in real time, down to audience performance and creative performance, how each ad does, and which metrics we're hitting and trying to hit. And as you guys, I just took you through a full funneled approach, the ability to launch omni-channel, and drive campaigns there with proven success. And, brand authority, drive conversions at the end of the day is the most important. And, we're partnering with you guys to take care of it for you. All you got to do is sign up and get an audit and trust us to do so for you, and you'll see the results.
Yeah, so I'll jump in here. This presentation is not about PixelMe. I am the director and general manager of PixelMe, but going to talk specifically about how it connects with DSP. For people that don't know, PixelMe connects with Amazon Attribution. We work via API to launch Google, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok ads and push that traffic to Amazon to increase your organic rank and create new profit streams. So that's what PixelMe does in its own little box. But with DSP, it becomes a lot more powerful. And that's what DSP Prime and PixelMe have been working on for the past 4 or 5 months. And what I think, like, maybe it's recency bias because I'm here in China talking to people about DSP nonstop. But what I see is that almost nobody knows about what they launched at Accelerate last year. And this year, I'm speaking at the event in Seattle at Accelerate. But you can, for anybody that comes through the funnel of Amazon Attribution, you can retarget them through DSP by creating a custom audience inside of the DSP platform. And nobody really is doing this except Craig and his team. And every single person that you bring through that funnel, you can get a 10% brand referral bonus for. And I have yet to find a single person that outside of DSP Prime is doing this, which is wild because Craig already talked about the fact that from a CPM model, it's way cheaper to target than it is on a cost per click model if you're on Amazon Advertising. So let me repeat that. Like, on Amazon Advertising is extremely saturated. It's expensive. CPM, again, it's not a click, but Craig knows how to put everything above the fold, make sure that it's getting impressions, the right audiences at the right places. And it's much more cost efficient. On top of that, Amazon will give you a 10% brand referral bonus if that person originally came through any form of outside traffic with an Amazon attribution tag, which PixelMe does automatically. So if you go to the next page, we're going to share this entire deck with everybody, but this just confirms what I just said, is that you can create, and this is from Amazon, this is not our statement, this full funnel marketing effectiveness by combining Amazon attribution, the AA campaigns, with remarketing and getting the brand referral bonus. This is all from Amazon. It was announced last year. I don't know anybody doing it. We're going to send out these slides, and the next slide just has a link directly to the announcement that they made last September. So the fact that people aren't doing this is pretty wild. I think we expected a decent amount of people to be on this call that are already using PixelMe. We have thousands and thousands of customers and campaigns running actively that are already profitable. But now that we've tested this and proven that this can take a profitable PixelMe campaign, so Google ad, a meta ad, to the next level, and basically, give you 10% back on any sale that wasn't the first sale, is extremely, extremely valuable. And just to reiterate all this, perfect timing. Thank you, Vanessa, for the next slide. Like, this is what Neil Patel, this is what Sephora, Gucci, and Procter & Gamble have used PixelMe for a long time. is retargeting outside of what is in the purview of DSP. DSP has incredible reach, incredible, but it doesn't have clear contracts with people like Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, some of the biggest social powerhouses. But Neil Patel has proven this a million times. If you don't know who Neil Patel is, look him up. Most of these statistics are coming directly from him, but he's known as one of the, best remarketing people of all time. And a couple of fun facts is that if you retarget customers, they're 70% more likely to convert. Obviously, your CTR goes down. If you serve the same ad to somebody 50 times, it's probably not going to get a sale on the 50th time. There is a diminishing return eventually, but after somebody sees an ad 5 times, they're 200% more likely to convert. Craig's already mentioned a lot of this, but retargeting also increases brand awareness and increases branded search inside of Amazon, which you can track. It, of course, re-engages potential customers, and long story short, it drives more conversions. Combining DSP and PixelMe has been extremely successful for everybody that's done it so far.
Clayton, if I could chime in for a second.
Jump in.
I couldn't stop you. You were on such a good roll there. I tried. On the previous slide, you started mentioning about cost effectiveness of using DSP and versus search based only. And I think that it's important to note here that last October or September-ish, Amazon just did a simple thing where they added a little button inside sponsored ads that allowed you to increase your bids for event-specific bidding. And what that did was drive the cost per clicks up exponentially, because there was no reminder that came back in and said, unclick your event-specific targeting and bids on keywords. But what that continued to happen. It happened for Prime Day in October. It happened it happened again during Cyber Week, and then again for the holidays. We saw it again pop up for Prime Day, or even Prime Week again in July. And we're going to see this now heavily in Q4. So the increased cost per click makes your existing sponsored ad spend less efficient just by keeping it there and not making adjustments. So it's important to leverage DSP, because DSP will do the heavy lifting, go after the audiences, bring the right customers in there for you, drive brand searches, and let that sponsored dollars and their sponsored budget remain efficient while low cost instead of paying the cost per click. So I just wanted to add that in.
So it's spot on. I remember you and your team bringing that up a while ago. Like, it was getting crazy expensive. I forget the CPCs, but you told me, I remember this like a year ago.
Yeah, it was like the detergent laundry detergent was like $17. And
I was gonna say
we were
$15.
selling an $18 product. It was like,
Wow.
this isn't gonna work.
The last thing I'll say, and then I want to get to the questions, because I think what I'm about to say will probably lead to some, but DSP Prime, one thing that I think people in China for the past month have super appreciated is the transparency. Some Chinese DSP companies, they won't tell you like which creative is being successful or which audience and creative combination is being successful. They'll hide that information on purpose so that you can't leave and use the data. But DSP Prime is the exact opposite. If you want a custom dashboard with the exact metrics, you can have it inside of our dashboard. Everything that pulls through AMC and DSP, but the transparency, I would say, is a really, really appreciated thing here in China. But the other thing that I think is awesome is that we create custom growth plans. So we'll tell you based on your product. Like, Craig's team knows what works, what doesn't, and he's got enough products running where he can say to a large degree of certainty when you'll break even, at what point you'll have 2 ROAS, 3 ROAS, 4 ROAS, and so on. And that has been incredibly accurate, if not to a fault, where Craig underestimates and over delivers. So that's been really cool. And the last thing I'll say is that, and then let's get to questions, is that a lot of people are doing view through attribution. So for all the people in different countries right now, if you're tuning in from China, if you're tuning in from other countries and you're using DSP right now, it's really important to make sure that people are doing last click attribution and giving you those ROAS numbers. Otherwise, if somebody's doing view through attribution, it could be that something was on Amazon. On Amazon, there was one impression on a website, maybe beneath the fold, where the customer didn't even see it at all. And then they could have gone back to Amazon and done a new search. And they're taking credit for that sale, even though the person never saw the impression. So the opaqueness and the transparency in the DSP realm is huge. DSP Prime has taken a stance that they are going to be the most transparent and the most honest by saying, we're only taking credit for that sale if it comes from last click. That way you actually know what's going on. You actually can see what's going on with DSP, and there's so many companies out there that just aren't giving you that transparency. Craig, I don't know if you have anything to add on that, but I was just going to run through here as a strategy and then get to questions. I think you're on mute, Craig.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
That's true.
Craig, I think
is
you're on mute. Craig, I think you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. Sorry about that. You're
Okay.
100% right. And I wanted to add to that on the transparency piece, and what DSP Prime also does is we're sending out an executive summary weekly to you and your team members to discuss what took place in the previous week and what optimizations are being made going forward. So there's not just transparency of sharing data, there's transparency of how we're thinking about things and how we're going about working to achieve your goals on the strategy that we aligned on before we started. And I think having that visibility is paramount.
Yeah, I thought that I knew the people in the USA were super happy when I came to China and everybody was already doing DSP. I didn't know how we would stack up, and now I do. And it's very, very well. So to finish this out, guys, I think putting this all together, figure out which audiences make sense. Oh, can we go back real quick? Just because I was that.
Okay.
You know, figure out which audiences make sense. You can do omni-channel launches with, you know, Google, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, etc. And you can retarget those, not just with Facebook. If you're launching a Google ad, you can retarget on Facebook and Instagram using PixelMe. But even more importantly, you can retarget with DSP all over the internet. You can get a brand referral bonus while using PixelMe and while using DSP. And of course, you can take that brand referral bonus and reinvest it into future ads. That's what the people that we see that are winning to the highest level, that's what we see they're doing. So Vanessa, if we go to the next slide, I would say in summary, run Google ads, PixelMe, but gotta retarget with DSP. The big companies are doing it, and it's because it works. And then the DSP, of course, optimizes, informs Rufus and Cosmo, and it's a full-blown like flywheel. Okay, so with that said, I would say that if you guys are interested in learning more, you can scan this QR code. You can book a call with people from our team to learn more about DSP Prime and PixelMe. It's free information. PixelMe will give you a free audit. DSP will give you a free growth plan with very clear, and I want to focus on DSP here, very, very clear ROAS goals. You know, about when you'll break even, when you'll get to this number and this number and this number, and you can compare it to if you're doing DSP right now, what you're expecting. We can give you more information on how the reporting is actually working. If it's view through attribution or if it's last click attribution, that's really important to know for your business. So we just dropped a poll to say, which are you more interested in learning about? Yeah, Vanessa, sorry.
Also, I'll say, going back to the beginning of the presentation and how we tied the whole initiative with DSP through AI and how we kind of manipulate in a way the system to target those audiences so Cosmo can learn about who your real audience is. This benefit, what Greg and Clayton are talking about, are at higher ROAS and the tacos, and all of those things are amazing growth key metrics and opportunities that you will see right away. But if you start using that data that DSP will give you on who's your audience, who's the winning content, and you start implementing those changes in your listing, the overall sales strategy will improve. So not only on the DSP advertising side, but also organically, because these algorithms or these AI systems are interacting with customers in a new way, with more information about, you know, your product and the things that they exactly want to see. And it will help converting faster. So that's kind of the whole how you we tied everything together on, it's not only the advertising piece and your ad spend, but also how this will improve with PixelMe the rank, and then with the content and the changes that you do to the listings, you enhance the experience with AI. So it's just a win-win situation in all of the three components of the triangle.
Agreed. Well said, Vanessa. So if you guys are interested in learning more, there's a QR code on the screen. And I think the very last slide we have
Oh,
is
yeah.
Q&A. Oh no, here it is. It's a white paper, so that if you guys want to dive in even deeper, obviously in 60 minutes, we can't cover everything that the three people on this call know about retargeting Amazon ads in general, but there's a lot of good information in this completely free white paper. So highly, highly recommend scanning QR code on that and get some free information for you and your team. And then with that, I think we can go to
The
Q&A.
questions, yeah. There are, oop. Okay.
The first
So-
question here, if anyone knows the answer off the top of their head, is what percentage of Amazon sellers approximately do you think are currently using DSP?
In China, it's high. I don't know worldwide, but I'm telling you, every single person I meet in China is doing it, or at least is like thinking about it or has. I found a couple of companies that said like they were doing it and they stopped, but they do it seasonally. In the USA, I would defer to Craig.
So I don't have a hard number for you guys. I apologize, but I'm going to say the opposite as of China is that it's extremely low. We're talking to brands all the time, and they've starting to now hear of it and are familiar with DSP for the most part, and sellers now know it, but the far majority have not used it. But we're definitely seeing more and more starting to engage with it, looking for ways to use it, how to use it, and the China piece of this though is so huge because there's such a big portion of total business that happens on Amazon within your categories here in the US that it makes the number of percentage of sellers that use it not necessarily as important as the number of dollars that are being sold that are using it. And I would say that it's continuing to grow rapidly. We're seeing fast adoption, especially now with the way that we're impacting the AI tool and the importance of that, combined with the I won't call it a hack, the attribution piece, and capitalizing on the PixelMe side. So not only is it a tremendous opportunity, it's becoming a need, but at least this need shows you return on that investment.
One thing that I found interesting on those metrics, Clayton, with how everybody's using it in China, is that if you think about it, most sellers in China are not even a brand. They're not even investing in brand awareness, or they have that XYZ, some like symbols over there as a brand, and they still invest in DSP. So that's interesting on like, I believe how people in this call are building their brand and trying to build that awareness. When you tie, a strong brand with, the strategy of DSP and PixelMe, I think that will go way better and further than just like add dollars to a product that is not really branded or is not looking to build a brand around that specific,
Yeah, that's 100% correct. I think the ones that are really, really crushing it, like Anchor is over here, right? Anchor's like top 10 Amazon seller I've met. I'm not gonna say the exact brands and names, but the ones that are really, really doing well are the ones that do have brands. And yeah, the ones that are kind of like these I almost said the brand, like it's a top 15 seller, like they have a million different things that they sell, but it's not really cohesive, right? They're gonna have less success than somebody that's really trying to build a brand, which is weird because that's what people in the US are taught to do from like day one, right? You take your like 101 class. It's like, hey, you're not just a product seller, you're a brand. You have to like build a story, build a brand. And I think US Europeans are better at that, just from understanding how people want to believe in a brand and think of a brand, that we have an advantage in that way. And in China, they have different advantages. They're used to doing omni-channel. They're used to using ERPs. They are, obviously they're closer to the manufacturer, so they often can negotiate a little bit better. But the DSP makes perfect sense for people that are trying to build a real brand. And it's not just Amazon. You can send the traffic as Craig can tell you, to your D2C. So I think it's very important that people wake up and start doing it as soon as possible.
Cool. Another question that we had in the chat was, what's the audit process for DSP? What makes a brand a good fit for the DSP opportunity?
It's not so much brand specific. It's goal driven. It's audiences. It's identifying, being able to meet your expectations and strategizing to achieve them. So brand specific is not in play here. I would say the best thing to do is just have us audited and show you what it would look like to have DSP running on your brand. There's different mechanisms, different levers that we will use based off of what the brand is and what categories or what costs or what price. So it doesn't eliminate anyone based off of brand.
Yeah, I think like what I would add to that is that it's similar to like the way that we audit PixelMe ASINs, right? If you got a 3.5 star product and the everybody else has 3.5 stars, we can make it work. It's like an example I give is like hair growth, right? Like hair growth works for some people. This serum will, this serum won't. So like the general rating might just be lower when it comes to like people's bodies and how they interact with chemistry. But if you're 3.5 stars and everybody else is 4.7, like that's not a good DSP fit. I think DSP and PixelMe make good products great. They don't make bad products good. And all the things you would think that help with conversion, the higher number of reviews, the higher rating, you know, you want to have a complete listing with A+ content, you know, well priced, all that sort of thing. I think the easiest way to say it is it makes good products great, not okay products great.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Last question that we've got here before we wrap up for the hour is, how can DSP Prime and PixelMe help a startup to scale up? And how can that also help with global expansion?
I want to start, Clayton.
Yeah, I mean, I just gave a presentation on this the other day.
I
So
think
like,
PixelMe first. PixelMe initially makes makes sense so that layer in DSP right after.
yeah, I think and I think that like audiences are cross-border, right? If you're selling to a European market and Australian market, you're probably talking about similar age, interests. You know, people that love soccer balls are similar age and like similar things in Europe as they do in Australia, as they do in the USA.
Yeah.
So those DSP audiences are more transferable oftentimes than even keywords, because people in England use different keywords for words in Australia and America, but they have the same interest. They have the same type. So I would say it's extremely transferable as far as going globally. And then Craig, I'll let you jump in and I'll think harder on the first part of the question, which is like how it helps us start up and scale.
Yeah, I would say that DSP and PixelMe are unique, but they go together very well. And to answer the question as to how the two of them together will help you scale, it's going to get you some ROI on your investment that you're making as you scale. Being able to retarget the people that come in from PixelMe and the attribution and getting the brand referral bonus, so it makes it way more cost efficient to have them together working for you as you do this. And DSP is going to, like we went over earlier, is always going to be able to identify your audience and drill down for you as well. So that alone makes it way more efficient and way easier to scale than having to go just search based to go have your customers, go find your customers.
And just real quick to add on to that, when you think about the funnel, like awareness, consideration, like conquesting, and then retargeting, that conquesting point as you launch a product, if you're better priced or you think you have a better product, that's something that's really difficult to do from a keyword perspective alone in a cost efficient way. Where with DSP, if you can target everybody that is looking at X, Y, or Z product that you know you're better than, or you're targeting to go after, DSP is, I mean, it's the perfect tool to quickly get a lot of eyeballs on your product. And then once you hone it in, again, you can cross border that.
Awesome. One more because this is a good one. And this is honestly just a recap question. But the difference here. So Alex asked, PixelMe is Google Ads based, so it's keyword activated. So is that not like DSP that looks for audiences? Can you elaborate? I think this is a really good opportunity to just sort of recap the recommended strategy here for using DSP and PixelMe together.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're spot on with Google Ads. It is keyword based, and for anybody that hasn't seen me talk about PixelMe before, the entire like theory that's been proven time and time again is that if you send traffic from Google that says blue shirt from Google and you send that to Amazon, you get enough conversions, that keyword blue shirt will increase its organic rank on Amazon. So that's what PixelMe does, and that's the keyword based part of it. But a lot of people aren't ready to buy the blue shirt on the first click. That's where DSP comes in, and DSP can take everybody that came through that Google click for blue shirt, so you know they're in the market for a blue shirt. But those retargeting statistics where it says 70% more likely to convert if it's retargeted, 200% more likely to convert after the 5th time they've seen an ad, that's where Craig's DSP comes in. And that is where like the ROI.
And tapping and also adding onto the AI piece and making sure that we're feeding information and driving the right information to the AI tools is where you're also getting an impact from running the two of them together.
And just one more thing to add on there is that you'll get the brand referral bonus. If you're selling in the United States and you retarget, Amazon's going to pay you 10% as well. So that's how the people are crushing it right now.
Amazing. Before folks start dropping off, just so everyone knows, we are going to send a replay out after this, but we appreciate everyone for attending as well. Thank you again to our panelists here, Clayton, Vanessa, Craig. We appreciate your expertise. And yeah, to anyone who attended, we'll send out the replay. We'll send out those links to those free audits, those free resources. And yeah, get started with DSP. It's the best recommendation we can give for you. But thanks so much for making the time today, and hopefully we'll see y'all at another one.
Take care.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.